no one needs to anoint me. You're allowed to open a store. You can be a candle maker. You are allowed to be an independent business person. There's nobody that does that. Mm-hmm. No one needs to like, oh, by the way, you would be good at this. So go do it. It was me and Steven telling each other, we can do this. This is terrifying, but I don't need to put faith in anybody but the two of us. We can do it. Let's try.
We're live. Mark Towns. What an honor. Twice in a week's span.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to the class, and thank you for having me here.
So the adjectives that come to mind from the handful of times we've met you, sensitive, empathetic, discerning, playful, and joy.
Wow. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
If anyone has stepped foot inside Edgewater Candles, you are hit with that feeling, that feeling of there is a lot of intentionality behind here. Whether it's like the little indents in the shelving to place the sample candles back in, so people know exactly where they go. There's detail if you look for it. You don't have to look too hard. There's details in every corner of the space. And I did not know you guys were around for that long, for coming up on 8 years. Mm-hmm. Congrats on that. Has it flown by?
Yes. Oh, especially when we had like our dining room table covered in jars.
I saw that in the intro video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just thinking about that and, making runs to the hardware store to buy ball jars.
Right.
And having the front door to our 3-flat blocked by 200 pounds of wax. And my neighbor calling me and being like, I can't get in the building. I'm going in the back door. It's fine, but there's a lot of wax out here. I'm like, oh, okay, let me...
Wow.
Let's do something different.
Yeah. That's amazing. Do you remember what life was like prior to Edgewater Candles? Mm-hmm. Can we start there? What was that like?
It was still a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
And expressing creativity and shouting in the wind. Here's this cool thing I made.
Okay.
And no one cares, which is fine because I didn't make it for people to care.
Right.
But, you do the thing, make an album, do a remix, create some art, and give it to the world and watch it get no traction. Which I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not, an SEO expert. I'm not putting in keywords or...
Right.
So that, I still was able to be creative and do the creative thing and have zero financial impact from it.
And at that time, was that the goal? As far as combining the two, making something out of a side hustle?
Not really.
Okay.
No, it was we develop online education for a healthcare company, and I was driving for Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
So these were the ways that we were putting food on the table.
Okay.
And we were just like, before Edgewater Candles, one of Steven's albums, 10 tracks. We made a single for every single track with remixers and artwork and videos. We were like, this is the moment we're doing everything we can. And it wasn't,
But to that point, isn't that how we should be treating everything?
Absolutely.
Like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. We hand silk screened the CD cases. I mean, there was one project where we made a wax seal and put a wax seal on every CD digipack. Just this level of craft and intention, and like, I did this thing and I love every single thing about it.
Yeah.
And, we still do that with music and stuff like that. But Edgewater Candles is all of that, and people make a decision to pay us for it.
Right. How did you guys get into the medical device or medical education, like online education / Uber? Like, I guess growing up, was there a plan to do something career related? No, I graduated high school with a poor average and applied for scholarships and got none. And my family is
no means.
Okay.
And so I tried to go into the military because that's a way to get free college, right?
Yeah.
And I was rejected for a curve in my spine.
Oh.
Not to mention being super gay, but they rejected me because of my spine.
Okay.
And so from there, I was like, well, I was a waiter for 10 years. And then I moved to Chicago. And I've always been a computer geek. And so I knew how to type and knew how to use Office. And I got a job as a secretary.
Okay.
And just kept on teaching myself tools. And one of my best friends knew somebody who was developing online education for a healthcare company.
Okay.
And his animator disappeared. And he asked me, can you help me with this project? And I was like, I'll figure it out. And I taught myself software package A, B, C, D. And now I've been working with, this company that got bought by that company, which got bought by this company. And now it's, a Fortune 10 company that hires us sometimes to do freelance work.
So where did the seed for entrepreneurship begin?
When I was 5, my parents' favorite story, whenever they talk about Mark as the hustler or whatever, side hustle, front hustle, selling things, the salesman, they bought a station wagon. Okay. And at the dealership, there were balloons everywhere. And they said, these are cute. Can we take them home for our kid? And so my parents came home with a new station wagon, like 81.
Wow.
And had all these balloons for me. I took them around the street and sold them to the kids on my street for a nickel a balloon. And my parents didn't know I did this because this is back in the days when little kids could just walk around their neighborhood. Right. So they were like, where's all that money from? And what happened to the balloons? And I was like, I sold the balloons and now I have all this cash.
Wow.
And they were like, okay, I guess this kid is just a salesperson. And I don't consider myself a salesman, but that's where the entrepreneurship, I would imagine, started.
But like, what was going on in your head though at the time?
I have no idea.
You went from wanting to balloons to selling balloons.
No, I've got it. I have it. I don't need to have it forever.
Okay. Or sharing some joy. Mm-hmm. But you didn't just give the balloons away.
I sold them. And that I have it, and I don't need to have it forever, was instrumental in feeding Edgewater Candles in those first moments because I had a truly world-class typewriter collection.
Yeah.
I mean...
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And it was taking up a lot of space, and you can't use dozens of typewriters, much less one on a daily basis. So I sold all of them except 2.
Okay.
And it was... I don't want to say I didn't cry. I cried once. But it was a moment of, I already had this. I have it. It's mine. And now it's going to have a new home. I don't need to keep this forever.
Sure.
Next.
I like that. And was that observed or taught somehow? This kind of transient nature of maybe life?
I don't know.
Yeah. If you observed it from anywhere. That's cool. It's you picked that up at a young age.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, also it came from a lifetime of scarcity. That's what it is. It was being poor for a long
I would think
time.
someone like that wants to hold on to things as much as possible.
And you should have seen our apartment in 2005. It was jammed to the rafters, 2005 through...
With like knickknacks?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Collection of this, and jars full of rocks and seashells and every houseplant you can imagine. There was no clean surfaces in our whole place. And then one day we moved from our antique vintage apartment, that was over 100 years old, to an industrial loft for Edgewater Candles. And the vibe did not work at all.
Yeah.
And now we need to make room for candles. And so I was like, well, goodbye typewriters, goodbye stunning antiques, goodbye jars of rocks on every windowsill, and hello to, I don't need all that stuff. I have stuff, but I have less stuff.
Yeah. I like how you said it in the class of kind of sharing some of that story, and you called it a homecoming in a way, coming back to Edgewater.
Mm-hmm. Where we belong. I love Edgewater.
My buddy had a place down the street from Bryn Mawr not too long ago, and then we also prior to that lived Foster and Clark. So right at that corner for a year. I miss it. I miss Clark Street, Andersonville, Edgewater. It's all
Clark is so vibrant.
good people, and yep, something to do. We miss George's ice cream.
Yum.
So, well, I guess and at that time, you were open-minded to creating a business out of some of your passions and out of your hobbies.
Yeah, with the typewriters, I had a website called shytype.com where I was repairing and selling a lot of the machines I didn't want to keep forever.
Okay.
So yeah, Stephen would take the pictures. He made this incredible website with a dead product called Adobe Muse. It's weird to hear about just a sunset of a product that you've really used a lot. You're like, oh, it's gone forever.
Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, we had a typewriter business before Facebook. I'm old. I had a website where I would take your card from your camera and make a website for your family to look at your pictures online.
Whoa.
Familysnap.com.
Really?
No one cares. Yeah. So, and I've also made a lot of websites. I did, for a hot second, I did, I already forgot the name of Oracle database stuff for a minute. And I was like, I don't know how to do this actually. Let me stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots and lots and lots of little jobs.
A lot of dabbling.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Edgewater Candles, what would you be dabbling in right now?
I am dabbling in electronic music. Yeah. I'll never stop. Electronic music is my heart.
If you were to take that one step further, what subcategories fall under electronic music that you're into? It's
experimenting.
Is it similar to Steven or still different?
Oh, he's the very same with electronic music.
Synthy a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's definitely synth pop.
Mm.
I can go lo-fi, I can go EDM, but the root is synth pop, leaning towards 80s. Nowadays, people say vaporwave or synthwave or chill wave.
Yeah. If we've piqued anyone's curiosity, where can they find said artist?
So Steven's band name, for lack of a better word, is Haberdashery, and mine is Marky Mix.
Okay, you have your own.
Mm-hmm.
I will look that up.
Yeah, just look it up. And I've had the pleasure of working for some really incredible electronic acts, but mostly working with Steven, and that's this incredible synthesis of, my production and his voice and his songwriting, and we get to make these new things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Take me to the moment you found a Craigslist listing for, free candle kits and wax and things like that. What you said, were you a serial shopper before that?
Yeah.
And then you were just looking for things, and why not Craigslist? Because there's a free section on Craigslist.
Because stuff. Give me more stuff.
Okay.
That's what it was.
You're always tinkering?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had several Craigslist listings that were taken before I was aware of them, and I would never again.
Okay.
So I found this plugin or widget for Firefox that would make an audible ding every time a website changed.
Wow.
So when someone posted and Craigslist refreshed the free section, my computer would have this ear-piercing ding, and I would run in from the kitchen. What was it?
Automation.
I know.
Automation.
If this, then that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And someone posted a candle making supplies kit, and I emailed and said, I would love to take this. And they were in Pilsen, and one of my next Uber trips had me going down to Pilsen, and I was like, I'm right outside. And she's like, great. And she just box full of waxes and wixes and wax and wicks and molds and dyes. We don't use dyes, but I experimented with them. And it was just like, this is fun.
What was your knowledge of candles prior to that? Burning
lots and lots of them.
Okay.
I didn't know what made a good candle or a bad candle. I didn't know about dyes and wick composition. I was just like...
So you were a consumer, and you were like, maybe I can start making them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the learning curve then? What were some of the resources you utilized, and what was the learning curve back then?
The first resources I used was none. I just melted it, poured in an amount of fragrance, here's a dye chip, whatever's happening is happening. I don't know. A jar this big with the wick that's designed for a much smaller, I know all this stuff now, but back then I was like, And
We should have brought those 2 jars as an example.
I wonder if my mom still has it, because I sent it to them as Christmas present, and they were like, "Thanks for the candle.
This is what you should.
Kind of weird." Whoops. But yeah, then there's a website called Candle Science that I learned a lot from,
Okay.
but also the craft subreddit
Okay.
and various crafting forums, and just like, okay, I'm having this problem. What's the answer? I'm having this problem. What's the answer? How do you do this? And how do I mitigate this disaster?
What were some of the disasters that were coming up?
Crunchy tops, which is the...
Okay. So it wasn't an even solution or even like distribution?
Oh, it's even.
It's
just
even.
that
So
the tops are solidifying in a way that looks like the surface of the moon or cottage cheese.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Also, adhesion, or what they call wet spots, which is where the wax is completely bound to the side of the jar or not, and how to get that perfect. And then realizing I kind of don't need to care about that particular part of candle making.
Okay.
Does it really matter? The answer is no.
Okay.
There's all these people going nuts about getting perfect adhesion and like kilns and bain maries for your candles, and I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah. So what was, maybe it was a combination of things, but what were like a handful of things that led you to maybe an aha moment, or like the tipping point of like you're gaining momentum at candle making?
It was when I decided to really research which wick was right for this wax and these oils in this jar.
Okay.
And on our dining room table, we lined up like 24 jars full of, they're full candles, not scented, but they were full of wax, and we had 24 different wicks. Okay. And we lit them all and set a timer, and it was like, okay, we're supposed to achieve an appropriate melt pool within a normal amount of time. The melt pool shouldn't be too deep. It should be complete, et cetera, et cetera. So we got like real scientific on it.
Okay.
And I want to do the very best I can starting at that moment. And so we found the exact right wick, and then had to change wicks when that one started failing on us 2 years later.
Okay.
But it was, I want to find the best wax I can, the best wicks I can. And then realizing that I could do better with the fragrance oils, which is when we transitioned to having our oils made for us rather than relying on a variety of
suppliers,
resellers, yeah.
Interesting. So with fragrance oils, are these different from essential oils?
Much
different. Okay.
Yeah, an essential oil is just plant matter.
Oh, okay.
So, let's say lavender essential oil. A bunch of lavender is thrown in a distiller. It's like mashed up plants. They boil it and they skim the oil. The oil rises, and then they refine it, and that's the oil. That's the essential oil. But our candle oil, like for cedar lavender, has some lavender essential oils and some cedar essential oils and a little bit of citrus essential oils, but is also carrier oils that help the oil permeate through the soy wax, as well as synthetic fragrances to really round out and bring out the full scent. And it's developed for performance in soy, because if you just use essential oils and put it in soy wax, you might get an incredible result. You might not. It could take a while to realize how much essential oil is needed. Essential oil can also be very expensive. So for all these reasons, it's a good idea to have, it's all right. What we're doing is a blend of essentials, synthetics, and carrier oils. And then, for some of our more popular fragrances, we have 30 to 120 pounds of the oil sitting there ready to go.
Wow.
If that was an essential oil, it might go rancid.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a product that can turn quickly, especially if it's exposed to UV light or not climate controlled.
Okay.
And then next year's batch of lavender will smell different than this year's batch, maybe. And maybe there's a frost and the fields get, there's all these things that can affect essential oil production. And some essential oils are considered not skin safe and toxic by California Prop 65. So for this whole constellation of reasons, we get to use nature and science together.
Okay. Take it to why soy-based wax.
Soy is gorgeous. I just think it's really pretty, first of all. Also, Illinois is the top soy producer in the United States, which, yay for that. I've driven every which way through the state, and there's always a soy farm somewhere.
Okay.
And soy is biodegradable, it is renewable, and it is sustainable. The state bean of Illinois is the soybean. So our soy wax comes from Midwestern beans that are refined in Kentucky and then brought back to Illinois where I buy it.
Okay.
So the cradle to grave, per se, of the carbon footprint of this soy is farm refining back to the distributor in Illinois. So the trucks that are carrying the wax is this little circuit based versus a wax like paraffin, which is a petroleum byproduct. So an oil refinery that's got truckloads of whatever's pumped out of the ground from dead dinosaurs gets refined. One of the waste products is paraffin. And then the paraffin is put in huge blocks and shipped all around whatever. But the paraffin wax, also from coming from in addition to it being a petroleum byproduct, it is also a fossil fuel. And so when it's burned, it emits benzene, toluene, and acetone, which are 3 toxic chemicals. And that doesn't happen with soy. Paraffin also burns hotter and faster than soy. So soy lasts longer and melts at a lower temperature than paraffin. Paraffin has a phenomenon where the vapor of the paraffin wax is combustible. And the vapor of soy wax is also combustible, but the paraffin wax can heat to a point where the whole surface of the candle suddenly becomes vaporized, and then not just the flame on the wick is burning, but then the whole surface is a pool of fire. And that only happens with paraffin candles, from what I know. I could be wrong, but from what I've read and from what I know, paraffin can burst into flames in a way that soy simply cannot. So I love soy. Soy is very temperamental, though. It is very temperamental with fragrances that aren't made for it, so it might not do a good job throwing a fragrance that's an all-purpose fragrance oil. And dyes in soy are very difficult to work with. You can almost never achieve a black candle in soy because it's always going to end up charcoal. When you put dyes in a soy candle, the top frosts. It's hard to explain, but just imagine it's frosty on top because the dye is being sublimated. I don't know what's happening, but there's white stuff on top of the candle. We used to make a candy corn colored candle for our pumpkin pie scent. So it's 3 layers, white, yellow, and orange. Super cute. And then in a matter of weeks, the colors are running together. We used to make a rainbow layered candle for Pride. A matter of weeks, the colors are running together. Soy and dyes are very difficult to work with. So aside from those few moments, we never really worked with dyes. It's just easier to have the natural color of soy.
From your perspective, are most candle makers or companies, what are they using soy these days, or what are they utilizing as the base?
I would say almost every hobby, independent, small candle maker is using soy or a wax that's comparable to soy, like beeswax or apricot wax. I would be surprised to find a small boutique candle maker that's using paraffin. Okay. But there are people who want a paraffin candle, so there might be boutique makers that are using paraffin.
Who would want a paraffin candle?
Somebody who doesn't want soy. Some people are convinced that if you're allergic to soy, having a soy candle would harm you. And if you're also vegan, you don't want beeswax. So maybe paraffin is the vibe for you. And then yeah, and also paraffin stands up by itself really well. And so if you want a taper or a pillar, our formula of soy can't stand up by itself, but paraffin can. And
like at large dinner parties, are you talking about those standing candles? Yeah,
think of the Targaryen's tents in Game of Thrones. When I was a youth, I was an altar server. And all the candles on the altar were paraffin.
Gotcha.
And it has a very distinct smell. I don't want to say it's good or bad, but it's paraffin candles smell that way. And for me, when I smell paraffin, it's right back to church. I'm like, okay.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I feel like you mentioned something about this, but the base being soy, does that affect the strength of a candle? Soy,
like I said, is kind of persnickety with scent, and paraffin does a great job of throwing it. So And also, paraffin is already something that emits toxic chemicals. And so if the product is already doing that, the manufacturer might not think twice about putting other things in the fragrance that are toxic, like phthalates and other fragrance boosters.
Yeah.
So candles that are cover-ups, for lack of a better word, to mask a scent are usually paraffin, because it does such a good job of perfuming the space, because they burn so fast and so hot with so much fragrance leaving. Soy does a weaker job by and large. And so our oils can be used in soy from any percentage up to 10%. So we go all the way to 10%. I'm like, well, let me just get everybody the most bang for their buck. I've never had a customer say, can you make this less fragrant? So we're using 10% fragrance, which is about the limit. When you go past 10% fragrance oil in a soy candle, the soy starts to reject the fragrance oil, and this top starts to sweat.
Whoa.
And so you see little drops of wax, and it was, okay, that was too much fragrance oil for this.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's real.
It's kind of like
weird.
a living being.
Absolutely. That soy is alive. Yeah. It's weird.
You also mentioned how it's safe for skin, and can you explain Prop 65 in California? But going into other products outside of candles, your formula stays true because it's been safe, right? Yeah,
the California, I don't know the exact testing they did, but they determined this whole list of things they have found that it can cause cancer.
Oh.
And so if your product has any of that in it, you have to put a sticker. This product contains a component that has been found by the state of California to cause cancer.
Okay.
That may cause
That's
cancer.
Prop 65. Okay.
So when we had our oils made for us, one of our requirements was, in addition to being skin safe, non-toxic, phthalate free, was Prop 65 labeling not required. So they're Prop 65 compliant. Okay. And so the candle is not FDA regulated. You're not eating it or putting it on your skin. You're setting it on fire. So it didn't, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter per se in the candle. Where it really matters is in the skin products. Like we have a wearable roller ball and our hand soaps. And someday in the future, we'll also have body soaps and lotions.
Right.
And so because we went that route of skin safe, non-toxic, Prop 65 compliant, all the body stuff is meeting the same standards that we enacted for our candles. And so they're safe to wear.
Yeah.
And we're not eating any of these products, but they're totally skin safe.
Was that intention though, because you were planning on things outside of addition to candles, like outside of candles?
No, I just wanted to do the very best I could.
Wow.
Because I am touching these oils. The end customer is never touching the full strength oil.
Right.
But I am. And so when it says not skin safe, I'm like, well, I'm touching this. I'm not dipping my hands in oils, but as I make candles, it just happens.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just, what is the difference in this candle oil that says for candles only, and this one says for candles, lotions, beard oils, incense, body products? Like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, what's the difference? Yeah, interesting. Tell me let's take it back to some of the bootstrapping moments when maybe even predating the farmers markets, but just sharing it with your loved ones. Maybe like you have a table full of candles now. Like, what do you do with it?
Question for the ages. I get kind of obsessed with things, and I love collections. Again, from that place of scarcity. I had an amazing CD collection when I was a teenager. I don't want to say embarrassing, but I also went through a phase where I collected a certain famous stuffed animal collection, and I had hundreds of them, and I gave them all to a children's hospital when I left.
Beanie Babies?
I don't. Yeah. I get latched onto something and I just go nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And so, I gave all the Beanie Babies to a children's hospital. But the candles, I just made as many as I could. And it was so cool to open a new bottle of fragrance and be like, this is so cool. It smells just like baby powder. When I made a baby powder candle, after I made it, I was like, okay, that's going to be the only time I do that. I don't need to make this scent again. But yeah, making all these candles and just being obsessed with it. And then now what?
Yeah.
And it was the Edgewater yard sale.
Okay.
Where anyone can put stuff in your front yard and sell it. And so I'm like, great, let me see if anyone will care. And then when I, putting on my own personal Instagram, I'm making candles, and then friends and family saying, that's so cool, can I make them with you? And so like our friends would come over to our living room and sit on the couch, and I would melt the wax in the crock pot and show them how to stir it, and like, now we're going to do this and pick your fragrance. And it was so much fun. But in our living room on an upholstered sofa. Yeah.
That is wild. Back then and even till now, it's just like, what was your relationship to smells and scents? And like, what do they do for you? What did they do for you?
When I first moved to Chicago.
Where are you from?
Texas, Corpus Christi.
Okay.
And when I first moved to Chicago, I worked right off Michigan Avenue, Michigan and Chicago. And I would walk through Neiman Marcus often when I got off the bus, especially on cold days. And their perfume counter is right there on the first floor. And sometimes I would put on this or put on that, and like free, cologne every day. I was like, they can't stop me. And a secretary's wage at a nonprofit. So. Okay. I can't afford to buy Chanel Egoiste or whatever I was wearing. And all these scents were stunning. And I got to know all these different like words and components, and like, this one makes me feel this way and this one makes me feel that way.
Yeah, there's another language to it.
This one's energizing, this one's relaxing, this one's calming, this one makes me feel like I'm at a spa, etc.
Okay.
And just really being interested in it and geeking out about it. And so also, I really love, there's a grapefruit is not a grapefruit for me. There's a certain grapefruit where like it has to meet all these requirements, and then it is transcendent for me. It's my favorite fruit.
How do you know if it's the right time from the outside?
You smell the like navel of it, and if it smells a certain way, then I'm like, okay, it's gonna be incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you describe that smell?
It's kind of funky and a little bit like
from the outside. Okay.
Pot.
Wait. Okay. So then, what's the perfect grapefruit then?
For me, it's a ruby red.
Okay.
And it's juicy.
Not
and
too tart?
No, it is too tart. I mean, I like the
You
bitterness.
like the tartness?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like Negroni is a wonderful, I just found an A Negroni that I'm like, okay, this is going to be my jam from now on. So yeah, the tart, the bitter, the burst of the little capsules with their flavor. Anyway, so scent and flavor are, intertwined, but I have a certain, I guess, pickiness about, it doesn't smell this way, it's probably not going to be a good one. So anyway, I have a discerning nose when it comes to grapefruit specifically. I wish I had the same gift for avocado. I don't know until I cut it open, and then it's either joy or
Are people smelling avocados?
But even the texture, it could be not tasting great, even if it's ripe enough.
Right. Okay. So then, how did your playfulness with or experimenting with colognes translate to maybe even like your own candle creations back then? It
started with a sample sale at a candle company, and they had all of their fragrances in a 1 ounce bottle for 99 cents a bottle. So I bought every single one.
Gotcha.
And our daughter came over, and we got to like sit with her in the living room, like, let's rate these scents. And so we opened every single one, and it was so fun. It was like 131 fragrances.
Wow.
And so, the three of us, person A, person B, and person C, and we'd like rate them. And Morgan she had a pile of, these were her very favorite, and they aligned with what Stephen and I liked too.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of, what do I want to smell more often? And the baby powder didn't make the cut, but other fragrances, like, absolutely, I would love to smell this forever. So it's this playfulness of like, let's play with scents now, you know, and let's combine scents. Later on, it became, let's see about making our own blend rather than relying on what comes straight out of the bottle.
Yeah. And how does that work? I mean, how do like scents that smell great on their own, like, do they always smell great together? It's just like, do they?
Not always.
Yeah, right? It's just
Yeah.
like...
So there's, a beautiful customer of ours gave me this book on flavor combinations.
Oh.
And it was like, imagine a color wheel, but it was like fish and meat, and
Okay.
it was about cooking, and it wasn't about recipes. It was about, these are things that work well together, like wild game and blueberries, or, I don't know. If you're eating bison, I guess blueberries go with it. I don't know. But it was that kind of thing where let's think about how we can pair herbs and fruits, or fruits and cheeses, or meats and fruits, like this wine with this meat, and this chocolate with this cheese, and this strawberries and basil, lemon and blueberries, these combinations. And so, for example, tobacco tonka was one of our very first, we made this blend kind of thing. And there's so many different tobaccos, and there's so many different things that can go in tobacco. And so we tried at least 36 different combinations and tried to distill them into what is the very best one. And tobacco itself, the cured leaf, not a cigarette, the cured leaf before it turned into a smokable product, has a creaminess to it, and it's a beautiful scent. There's a reason why it's so popular. Tobacco smells incredible. And the tonka bean has its own vanilla creamy vibe to it that just blends beautifully with it. And the unadvertised secret top note is evergreen. And so these three things just come together beautifully. And it's not because Stephen and I went to scent school. We're just like, I like this. Let's hope everybody else does too.
Okay. Yeah, that's where the playfulness comes from. So then after, how did the Edgewater, the block sale go, the neighborhood sale go?
I think I sold, less than 2 dozen
Was that the one where you said one guy bought 2? And
Yeah.
2?
Yeah, he was our first customer. His name's Travis. And it was, I'm out there with my typewriter email sign up list. People just wanted to play with the typewriter.
You were thinking that far ahead though.
Yeah. This could be a thing someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The typewriter sign-up list didn't last very long because people wanted to talk and play with the typewriter more than they wanted to buy and smell candles. It's okay, this is a distraction. As much as I love this machine and all of them, this isn't going to work. But yeah, the first customer bought 2 candles.
Wow.
And blew my mind. And then the Chamber of Commerce invited us to their farmers markets and street festivals. And that's when I was like, okay, all gas, no brakes, forever. Let's go. Yeah.
How did you get over? Because I got the sense that there was some imposter syndrome when you were starting out like that.
There's still imposter syndrome.
So I guess from your perspective, what has mitigated some of that feeling? Is it just, there's no way around the work, right? It's always this, it's a game of iterations.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get around that.
Hi, buddy.
There's my co-host. Oi.
I guess for me, it's knowing that it's that little voice in my head, and I just like RuPaul says, it's thanks for sharing. I don't need that. I hear you. I know what happened in my life that makes that voice come about. I know that this is common for many, many people. I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. And I can choose to do something different. And so, when somebody insults our prices or our candles or whatever, I'm like, that's fine. This won't be the last time I hear this. This isn't the first time. And I'm going to do something different with my reaction and my response, which is nothing. I don't react at all. But yeah, the imposters thing is I'm going to do it anyway. The first time I approached Foresighted, that was the most scared I have been in a long time. And I was actually going to a different store in that area. And I had a sample candle. And I walked in the store and saw that they already had that kind of presentation of candles. And I walked out feeling like a fool and why did I think I could do this? And I dramatically ripped up a little note I wrote and threw it in the trash.
Oh, wow.
And so I had the bag with one candle, and I was like, and Mark, you need to do it anyway. So I went to a different store, a much bigger store, the store which is still one of our top accounts to this day. And I walked in with my heart just pounding in my chest. I was like, hi, my name is Mark. I make these candles locally. If you'd like to sell them, let me know. If not, that's fine. Keep this forever, and you never have to talk to me again.
You literally said that.
I said that. Because I was just like, I don't know.
But wait. Did they stop you from leaving, or like, what was that interaction?
It was so weird that I was out the door.
They just let you go out, or you were just gone that fast.
Yeah. I was out the door before they realized
I would have been like, wait.
I didn't want to give them the chance to be like, dude, you're a freak. Get out. Yeah.
Because I guess if we were to 2020's hindsight, but like looking back, like the reason why everyone loves Edgewater and Andersonville is because of the people and how open-minded and how embraceful people are.
Yeah. And I don't think I really knew it the way I know it now then.
Well, you're exposed. This is a physical manifestation, this candle of your energy and your time and your being, and it's out there for the world to judge.
Yeah. And they called me the next day. And this was so rewarding. They told me they were about to ask me for my candles. And I was like,
before you walked in?
Yeah. They were
so
already...
they were, the awareness was there.
They had already seen our candles at Rogers Park Provisions.
Wow.
And the buyer thought they were rad, and they were going to reach out to me, and I beat him by 1 day.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure her name's Katie. She was like, this is amazing. I was about to reach out to you, beat me to the punch. And that's cool in itself, but I still got to have that moment of stabbing my comfort zone in the heart.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, comfort zone. I don't need that. I don't want... my comfort zone is trying to keep me safe.
Yes.
And trying to keep me alive, because what I have always done hasn't killed me yet. So let me just keep on doing that.
Yeah.
Nope. I want to go beyond what I've always done.
I love that. Is there an intention to get yourself to that point again?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Signing a commercial lease for this is our 4th commercial lease.
Okay.
And every time is like, new landlord, new space, new everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, can we do this? I mean, yeah, of course we can. And anyone can. And the hard part to realize is that no one needs to anoint me. You're allowed to open a store. You can be a candle maker. You are allowed to be an independent business person. There's nobody that does that. No one needs to like, oh, by the way, you would be good at this. So go do it. It was me and Steven telling each other, we can do this. This is terrifying, but I don't need to put faith in anybody but the two of us. We can do it. Let's try. And if it fails, fine, but let's give it a shot. And it feels so good to have tried and have it work. And every single time someone comes to the register and buys a candle, I'm like, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It allows us to keep a roof over our head and food on the tables.
And I tell our classes, when you shop local, you're doing something different than buying from a big box store. And I am glad there is a Target in, Rogers Park. I'm glad there's a Lululemon. I'm not bashing them whatsoever. I shop at Costco. And when you shop local, when you shop at Edgewater Candles, the owners live in Edgewater. We eat in Edgewater. We play in Edgewater. My Netflix subscription fee goes to California, and that money never comes back to the community. And so, of course, the people who work at Costco live in Chicago. That's not what I am saying, but when you shop local, something different happens in the way that, the owners of Edgewater Candles went to breakfast at this place down the street, and I saw 3 of my customers at breakfast that day. And then at the coffee shop, I know the owner there, and I know the owner of the fish place down the street, and the person at the Indian restaurant.
That's the kind of neighborhood most people do want to live in. But you don't get that vibe in I would say most neighborhoods. There's probably like a handful of neighborhoods that have that vibe in Chicago. And that being said, Chicago as a whole is still one of the best cities in the world.
I agree.
But it's so cool that you get to be part of that network, that livelihood.
Yeah. It's a privilege and an honor. I feel, I don't know, when I walk by Golden Scissors and Sam, the proprietor, like,
Yes.
you know, when he opened his doors, I brought him a 6-pack of candles. When
Yeah.
All Meal Prep opened, I gave him a 6-pack of candles. And I just love welcoming the new businesses on my street. And
Right.
I know the owners. And I guess if a Jamba Juice opened up next door, I would never know the owners, you know?
You mentioned Edge of Sweetness at the class. I'm just remembering now, my friend that recommended the real estate agent used to have kitchen space at Edge of Sweetness. Justin Doggett behind Kyoto Black Coffee.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
But he's still on Edgewater. He's on
Devon?
Devon.
Yeah. I met him several times.
Nice.
His coffee is delicious. And I know he used to do the
trike.
what is it, like steeping, or no, sous vide.
Sous vide what? Sous vide.
The coffee? Am I making that up?
I've never heard of him sous vide his coffee.
He did something which was just interesting the way he...
It's drip style cold brew. So rather than steeping, it's dripping cold water through grounds.
So cool.
And so as time passes, you'll notice that the drips get clearer and clearer, meaning there's less coffee left. Whereas like in a French press, when you toss the grounds, you're tossing coffee. Yeah, so I was just like, oh wait, Edge of Sweetness and Justin. So tell me more about your maybe second or third iteration of Edgewater Candles. It's a little blurry when you had moved to Evanston.
2018,
Yeah.
Mid 2018, our apartment was overrun.
Okay.
And we wanted to do this.
Let me pause you there. At the apartment, you were also shipping then.
Yeah.
Well, how was that?
It was a mess. So imagine a Chicago 3-flat. We're on the second floor.
Oh my God.
And we're carrying up and down huge boxes of wax and candles. And every time there's a show, we load the Subaru down there. And it's just a lot of stairs. We had a sofa and a settee in the living room. Got rid of the settee to make room for candles. Like, we're replacing furniture with Metro shelves. I used to have a really pretty mid-century 9-drawer dresser for sweaters. Come on. I sold it just to buy Metro shelving to hold candles.
Sure.
Just everywhere. And we're saving every piece of scrap shipping to pack candles, and just, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have. It was very clear that you were outgrowing this space.
Yup.
Would it be a daily, post office haul, or would it be a weekly, and it's just like it's like, it's got to be easier than this. Like this isn't it.
Also the manufacturing.
Okay.
Because I started with a crock pot, and then I graduated to these Presto pots, which can melt 11 pounds of wax. And then I bought a 50-pound wax melter.
Okay.
Like the one we use at class. And that was in my living room.
Wow.
And
the one in the window? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
In my living room, yeah. And it still wasn't big enough. You could see it from the street, like, what is going on up there? And the shipping, it was a lot. And we just needed better systems in place to store made candles and to make new candles, and to store raw materials, and to ship, and to have room to ship,
Sure.
Because if the dining room table is covered in candles, you can't pack a box on it.
Right.
So
can't eat on it.
To say the least. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we moved to a live-work loft in Evanston in mid-2018.
What does that mean, live-work loft?
So it's a warehouse that an architect purchased and carved up into apartments that are zoned for commercial, business, and residential.
Okay.
And as far as I know, that can't happen in Chicago, but that can happen in Evanston.
Okay.
Zoning laws.
Okay.
Great. So we, it's not a secret. Our customers came to the classes there and saw it, but we had our bed was on pallet racking.
Oh, wow.
Like it was, like you're at home, Costco, and you pull the thing off.
Pallets, yeah.
It was on pallet racks.
Yeah.
So like the orange sides and the green trusses, whatever. And We threw a mattress on the pallet racks. It was,
Hey, it's not on the floor.
but we could store stuff under it and stuff over it.
That's the thing to do now, though.
Oh my gosh. So that made it possible for us to make a lot more candles. We bought a 100-pound melter.
Okay.
And store a lot more candles and ship efficiently.
Were you doing anything, like, because you mentioned zoning, but like, if there wasn't any zoning in your apartment in Chicago, like, what would have gone wrong?
We couldn't get a business license.
Oh.
We wanted a business license to do this beyond hobby.
I see. So you couldn't be official yet.
Because hobby, that's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to do more, so to get a business license, we needed to have an address that was appropriate.
I see. What is the difference, maybe in numbers, that differentiates hobby from business then?
I guess, have you sold furniture to make room for your hobby?
Yeah, it's like, what's that threshold?
Yeah.
What's that threshold that will tell people, I think it's time. I think it's time we expand.
Our UPS driver told us. He did. He's like, I've seen this before. Once the packages start getting bigger and bigger, people move. He's like, I can tell you're not going to be here for another year. And I was like, no, I'm not. I love this place. And he was like, trust.
I'm curious how many entrepreneurs, UPS, delivery people have witnessed and observed and encouraged. Right?
This guy knew lots. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, did people stop? Did the idea or inception of a storefront kind of happen when you guys moved up to Evanston?
Well, in Evanston, we were able to host classes in a much more real way for the first time.
Okay.
And it was amazing. And then at the classes, people were like, well, can I buy these? And I'm like, I mean, I guess. Yeah, let me figure that out. Because I was accustomed to only selling direct to customer at street festivals and farmers markets and craft fairs. And so, we're pulling the candles out of the inventory shelves, and they would just tell us what they wanted, and it was a lot. It didn't work very well. Okay. And so, 18 and 19, half of 18, all of 19, we were in that small 2,000 square foot loft.
Oh my God, 2008. Oh, I guess this is 1,000. So that's 2,000 is not small.
Yeah, it wasn't small, but it was. We were climbing on top of things, And then...
did you meet any other cool entrepreneurs or interesting entrepreneurs back in that space?
You would imagine.
Other live work areas?
A lot of them were they were using it as apartments.
Oh, okay.
But one guy had a really cool motorcycle collection because the floors are concrete. Oh. And so he was able to park his bikes in his home, which I think is neat. We met a really cool painter. Oh. Another cool guy who's a stunt double. And so, he works on lots of things, and he's a stunt double, and so he lives in this cool loft to match his cool lifestyle. There was a cooking kitchen for kids, like a class kind of place there, too. Really, really cool.
Evanston's cool, too.
Definitely. And we were in the west end of Evanston. Okay. Which is sort of, there's a strip called Florence where there's lots of interesting makers and ceramic studios, and this is a thriving maker community that we got to be a part of, and we're still a part of because we still have a loft in Evanston. Were
you a part of the Evanston Farmers Market?
No.
Oh, okay. I love that farmers market.
7 a.m.
So what, too early for you?
Too early. I was like, this is the manager of the Evanston Farmers Market took a class recently and told me at the end of the class, he's like, so I run the Evanston Farmers Market. Would you consider doing it again? Because you still make your candles, and some of our candles are made in Evanston. I was like, 7 a.m. is a lot, and I can choose what I'm doing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, at what point do you feel like you want to hire help?
We've hired one person, and the opportunity for growth for me is letting go of it's my way. Yeah. And when a customer approaches our vintage Volkswagen at a craft fair, I know I'm going to tell them the right thing. Right. I know I'm going to greet them with a smile. Even if I am on my phone, it's not going to be that, what? Right. I've seen, I don't want my customer to ever
get the wrong impression.
Yeah. I feel, so yeah, my opportunity is to let go of my way is
I like how you said that, though. You're not framing it as a problem.
I'm trying to frame everything as an opportunity for myself. That's my work.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So you're already aware. It only happens, or, the opportunity arises when you're busting at the seams. And when people are like, I want you at this market and that market, it's just like, I can't be everywhere at the same time anyway.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. At what point did you feel like you outgrew that live workspace in Evanston?
I'm always cautious as to how I present this next fact because the pandemic was highly unusual for a billion reasons.
Yeah.
And everyone suffered.
Yeah.
But candle companies saw a massive boom. People were stuck at home, and every self-care article, top 10 things to do when you're stuck at home, was light a scented candle.
Really?
And so when the lockdown was first announced, our volume went to 0 on our website.
Inventory. Inventory went to 0? Sales went to 0. Okay, so sales did go down.
Sales went to 0. The day the lockdown was announced, all our sales dried up completely. All the shows for the whole year were canceled eventually. When the lockdown became, remember it was like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, it'll be next month.
It just kept extending, yeah.
And so we had 4 months of sold out classes.
Oh, wow.
I refunded everybody's ticket in 1 day.
No. How did you navigate that? Were you like, can I host a class in the future? Like, because this is your livelihood as well, right? So were you debating anything like that?
No, it was rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
I'll reschedule the class if I can. And I told everybody, here's all your money back. I am so sorry. When classes come back, we'll let you know. But for now, this class is canceled. And so in the little QuickBooks thing, there's this dagger of you just refunded, 20 sold out classes in 1 minute. It was just like,
yeah.
And so for us, we were now at this massive negative. And again, I kind of have survivor guilt because a few days later, the online orders started trickling in and trickling in. And then as the stores were not reopening, the online orders picked up. And then we noticed people sending candles as gifts to loved ones and coworkers. So here's a manager sending a candle to 8 employees. Here's a mom sending candles to her 3 kids. And the notes, see you on the other side. This candle reminds me of you. I don't know when we'll see each other again. And we're like crying as we're packing orders. Yeah.
Well, and these are people, it's without having the opportunity to smell them. These are people that are just buying candles without testing them.
Some of them were people who were buying our candles at the retail stores that couldn't anymore.
Gotcha.
Or would buy from us at a farmer's market, and there's no farmer's market.
Gotcha.
And so to be a part of that moment rather than merely profit from it, we, at that moment, we used to have free shipping when you spent over $55. We made free shipping on every order. And then we also started including a mini tin as a complimentary gift in every box. You weren't aware of it. We were going to put in a free candle. And then our online store blew up. And then it was just all these orders, and our business was really picking up. And again, it wasn't just us, it was every candle company. And then by the time November rolled around, all the gardening and canning people had done in the summertime, plus all the mason jar candles. I'm not the only person to put wax in a mason jar. There were no more mason jars available on the planet.
Wow. Everyone, okay. They're all taken.
So it was just like, anyway, there were a lot of things to overcome. There were a lot of opportunities that we were able to realize. And so by the mid-August of 2020, we moved out and moved back to Edgewater.
Gotcha.
And in the next month, my best friend who moved to Los Angeles, her restaurant that she was managing had closed permanently. And so I offered her a part-time holiday thing. Come live in the loft that we just moved out of. Anyway, long story short, she moved into Edgewater Candles when we moved out. And then as our lease expired at the beginning of 21, we got a different space for Edgewater Candles. She got an apartment in Chicago and made the move permanent. And so now we've got our new loft in Edgewater, Evanston, which is truly amazing because at that loft we have for the first time a roll-up door and huge double doors where we can receive a pallet of materials and not have to break it down to get it into our space.
Interesting.
Because before that it was 36 boxes of 50 pounds of wax and bringing them indoors one at a time.
Oh.
And now we can simply wheel the pallet in and park it in about 2 minutes.
Gotcha.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
These growing pains and like, this loft is great. It's so much more space and it has a tiny door. Now we've got a great big loft, but it's still in Evanston. We're trying to make it into a store, but it's far away. It wasn't transit friendly. It's not far away. It's far away from Chicago.
Was it because it was hard to find a place in Chicago that you stayed in Evanston?
There was no way we could get that amount of space at that price per square foot per year.
Yeah.
It was just not possible.
Right.
And the decoupling of my brain of the store and the factory need to be in the same space. When we realized that was early 22, and it was like, they could be separate things. As weird as that sounds, I hadn't even considered that.
But it's not intuitive because that just means more money.
Mm-hmm. And we can't all be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah. So at what point did that click for you, having two separate places?
Driving to Evanston 5 times a week and seeing so many vacancies and stores closing on Bryn Mawr because of the pandemic. And like, oh, this restaurant closed, that restaurant closed, this store closed, that store closed. Mm-hmm. So many closures. Yeah. And just watching Bryn Mawr's historic district get kicked in the teeth. And then one day being like, maybe we could have one of these storefronts. Mm-hmm. And then made a few calls and found one that worked perfectly and was like, oh, are we really going to do this? And we did. Scary. Do it anyway.
Scared and do it anyway.
Yeah.
I love it.
The thing was that we knew we could handle the outcome and we let go of the outcome. And we did the math, and we're so bootstrappy, conservative, keep the fat in the business. Mm-hmm. It was, if we didn't sell a single candle for the whole year, our online store could still, it would be brutal, but we could still do it.
Sure.
And if the store worked, it would pay for itself.
Good.
And within that first month, we were like, oh, thank God, we can actually do this.
It's hard to put value initially on like the foot traffic and having a storefront.
And for us being a brand that is a website.
Yeah.
And having loyal customers that love to see us, but it's,
now
on any given Tuesday, you just go to our website and now there's a place to be, because the people who want to champion us and champion any small business, when you give them the opportunity, then they can.
Yeah.
Yesterday was Monday. I was in the store by myself, just doing the thing. It's crickets. It's snowing. It's freezing outside. It was 26.
It was snowing. What? That was weird.
Gross. And people came in. They're like, I need to buy 2 candles as a gift. Can you mail this to my sister? I'm here for my 2-week top up of a tomato leaf. And I'm just sitting, when they walk out, I'm just like, I can't believe this. This is incredible. We've given them we've removed friction.
Yes. Yeah.
We're open 7 days a week, 11 to 6, and they know it. And when they choose to, they can come in instead of place your order on the website, wait for UPS, or go to the stockist, which has a smaller selection, or maybe they don't have the hand soaps, etc.
Right.
And so we found that when we've given our customers the opportunity to do the thing, they did the thing. And we get to meet them in the Edgewater neighborhood, in the Edgewater Historic District. It's just this circle of love that just never stops.
Right. We didn't mention the van, the VW bus. Do you still have it?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that was our, during the pandemic, having 18 months of no shows and 18 months of not having to set up that tent. And it's like, it's a traveling circus. Every craft fair is a circus. We see, it's like, I'm the fat lady, there's the strong man, and so I'm setting up my tent next to that colleague I've seen over and over for years. Like, hey, Bob, hey, Sue,
Yeah.
And we're a family, and I freaking love it. And I've met a lot of beautiful people that way. And having 18 months of not doing it, and then in fall of 21, shows came back.
Okay.
And setting up that tent with those weights, and I was like, oh, dude, I forgot what this was like. This is a lot of work, and I ain't getting any younger. So we did some, real marquee shows at the end of 21 and wanted to do way more in 22. But it was so much work to do those shows in 21 because we were building shelves on the street.
Wow.
Because we wanted it to look as good as we could.
Right.
We wanted to keep our aesthetics leveling up without leveling up the amount of work. And so it was Steven's idea to get that 1969 Volkswagen camper.
So not only did it transport everything, but it became the store? Like the inside of the bus became the store?
Yeah, it was like a mobile boutique. I would slide open the door
so dope.
and you would just belly up and there's 12 scents that you can smell.
Oh, that's so cool.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. If a newish small business was looking for craft fairs to get into, are there some that are better than others? And I don't know if better than others is the right word, but more conducive?
So two things. There are craft shows that are better attended than others.
Okay.
But also it's important to go where your customer is.
Yeah.
There's some neighborhoods or some suburbs where it's the same candle at the same price. And a show with 10,000 attendees here is going to be completely different than a show with 10,000 attendees here. And so it was just trial and error where we discovered, this neighborhood doesn't, we don't resonate with this population. Okay. But this population is screaming, come back. I can't wait to see you again. I'm so happy you're here. And then there's craft fairs that are put on by the Chamber of Commerce or street festivals. And so this one is a summer festival with beer and music and craft and a kids play jump land. So if that's a neighborhood that vibes with your products, do it.
Yeah.
And if it's a neighborhood or it's a festival that focuses on something that doesn't align with what you're doing, like this is a festival that's about bacon or barbecue, or this is all about, the Jimi Hendrix experience. I'm just throwing things out there. Our candles and a festival about bacon doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And then there's certain festivals we can't get into, like the fine art fairs. Our product is, I consider it art, but it's functional and it's craft.
Sure.
And so those festivals, that's just not appropriate to begin with. So we've learned.
When someone is identifying their target demographic, do you come from the perspective of trying to come up with criteria for your target demographic, or do you continue to put out your work and see what resonates with the audience and see what sticks, essentially?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing what I want to do, and then our target demographic didn't resonate with our cannabis vetiver scent. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And, our candles are designed by two gay men. That doesn't mean that people who aren't gay men aren't going to love these scents.
No, yeah.
And it's just because marijuana became legalized on January 1st, 2020 doesn't mean that everybody's going to enjoy this scent.
Yep.
So we're doing what we like, and when it resonates with the people who have chosen to be a part of our tribe, we're thrilled.
Yeah. I remember years ago, this is probably 10 years ago, like Dark Matter had like a devil's lettuce coffee. And I was like, this is disgusting. That was disgusting. It was dank. It was awful. But okay, I like that model. And I think it's tough when you're first starting and nothing's sticking.
And pandering is just gross. Like, if I figured out how to do analytics, I'm sure I could find out the age and the income bracket and the gender. I mean, I don't care about gender of my customers. I don't care about the age of my customers. I don't care how much money you make. But if I chose to drill down and figure that out, I could probably figure out the number one scent that this person wants and make that scent to sort of cravenly find out, like, make the product that person I think wants to see. And I've seen that happen in films where, like, a superhero film is designed by committee and it's a huge flop because there was no artistry or talent thought behind it. Yeah. And so I want to do the thing that is exciting to me. And if it resonates with the other person, awesome. But I'm not making it because I'm like, what is something people are going to buy? It's never going to be our vibe.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What are some things that you're stoked about at the moment that you're brimming at the, to share?
I don't know when this will broadcast, but I have a special...
Probably in a month.
Okay.
Probably 3 weeks to a month.
So back on April 1st, I'm excited for April 1st. We're going to have a very fun, very silly, the most whimsical thing I have ever done, which will be a one-day only pop-up of 3 cents homaging the Golden Girls. I love the Golden Girls with all my heart, and I've made 3 cents that are going to be just for one day. I've already made them.
Wow.
So there will be 3 cents in a 3-pack box. Rose's Sparehooven Krispies, or Blanche's Orange Creamsicle, and Ma and Dorothy's Double Fudge Amaretto Cheesecake.
Oh, wow.
And so it's this opportunity to just be my goofy self and be like, this is funny to me, and I love these scents, but it's not appropriate for our full line.
Sure.
So one day only, here's me being silly on April 1st. Enjoy it. And I commissioned some art, so we have original
very cool.
animations of the girls, and I made a glitter sticker. It's going to be ridiculous.
Very cool. Very cool.
And in that same vein of pop-up kind of thing, which, our whole line is wonderful, and I'm excited about it, and I love all of it. But the prototype series is another way we bring out a new scent every month. It's only for 1 month, but it gives me a chance to show the world, I really like the way violet flowers smell. So here's a violet and cedar scent available in April. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
If you do, let me know. If not, wait till May. There's a new one coming.
What's the cost of that club, that membership?
We sell them at the same exact price as our other tins, but if you subscribe, you get 10% off.
Subscribe to the newsletter?
To the Candle Club.
Okay.
Because you can subscribe to our prototypes.
Is that free, though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
So you can subscribe to the prototype, and that way you're getting the $18 candle for 10% off and free shipping, and we're putting a free mini tin in there. And I'm always like... It's actually not about squeezing every last penny out of this.
No.
It's about letting our customers know how much we appreciate them. Because I've seen customers come in and they buy a candle. I'm like, and here's this, and here's a sample of our incense, and here's a mini tin, and here's a book of matches, and I wrap it up, and they're like, I spent $18 and I got all this stuff. Like, you're selling that mini tin for $10 and you just gave me one?
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'd rather put $10 in your pocket than Mark Zuckerberg's pocket.
Sure.
This marketing is a far more beautiful thing than finding somebody on a social media platform or a search that you did and having this inorganic connection,
Yeah, I love that.
It's working. It's beautiful, and it feels good to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Out of all the marketing tools, word of mouth seems to be the strongest still to this day. And so how you treat your guests, it leaves an impression and ripples with whomever they talk to that might be in search of your goods or services.
That is absolutely the word for it.
Yeah,
yeah, ripples.
Where are some of the places you get inspiration from for a lot of these candles? Do you guys take like road trips and stuff like that, or? Yeah,
so our daughter is in school, or she's working right now in the New York area, and so we get to travel and like have different food. We went to the flower district in New York. I have never seen anything like that. It was so cool, just like orchids lining the sidewalks.
Oh wow!
Hundreds, maybe thousands of orchid plants, and just being like, this is so much. And just being inspired from those moments.
Sure.
Also cuisine and other cultures inspire us. Stuff like that is just, it's always around us. And it's easy for us to fall into the little ruts. But I also subscribe to fragrance industry publications.
Okay. That's a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a hard copy of a magazine that comes with, it's full of ads, of course, but it's also talking about fragrance technology, new trends, also flavor as well as fragrance. And just like, I didn't realize there was this huge moment for spiced milk, dairy scents.
Yeah.
And it was cool to learn about that. I didn't make any. I was like, that's fine for somebody else to do.
Speaking of spices, that chai candle was amazing. That chai cardamom candle is insane.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
That was inspired by a moment in our lives where we tasted a chai recipe for the first time. My only exposure before that was coffee shop chai, which was totally different. And I just was, oh my God, this is incredible.
So on average with your candles, how many iterations does it take before you're happy with one?
Chai was straightforward.
Okay.
There was the ratios were not troubling, but that was the experiment. Is it this much chai? Is it that much cardamom? Because cardamom, a little goes a long way.
Okay.
It's like cooking with lavender or rose.
Okay.
Cooking with cardamom too much is immediate like Windex.
Oh, okay.
It goes cleaning fluid real fast. And same in the scent.
Okay.
And so it was the ratios. But wood smoke took a long time because it's, I think I told you, it's impossible to write down how it's supposed to smell. Like when it is this, then it's right.
Yeah.
It's not an algebraic equation.
Okay.
So it's I know it's not there until it's there.
Okay.
And when it's there, I know it's there. So with wood smoke, it was lots and lots of attempts with a bunch of different fragrances. And then when we got the right combination, I was like, this is what it smells like to walk home from a restaurant in Andersonville to our home in Edgewater in February while it's snowing and other people's chimneys are wafting.
Your inspo for wood smoke?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
When I first moved to Chicago, I had very little experience with snow, and I could not believe, this is going to sound so goofy, I couldn't believe snow crunches underfoot. And I remember just being like, oh my God, snow crunches. And I called my mom. I was like, Mom, did you know snow crunches? And she's like, I've been on this planet longer than you. She was nice about it. But yeah, snow crunches. And it's still romantic for me to walk home.
I thought of campfire, but I did not get a campfire feeling after smelling wood smoke. Otherwise, I would probably use wood smoke if it was close to a campfire.
Yeah.
S'mores might be a good one. So then that just, it's a big circle. It's just like you continue to live life and you continue to be inspired and you continue to make candles and it's just this big recurring cycle.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
It makes life so fun. Well, yeah, if anything, it makes you hyper present.
For sure.
But like you're not like actively seeking out like inspo. You're simply living life and allowing inspo to come to you.
Inspo happens in the classes a lot too.
Okay.
I'll smell when the class is over, I clean out the pitchers with a little heat tool.
Okay.
And when I do that, the scent comes out in a big wave for just about 30 seconds. And then I really smell what that person made. Somebody mixed orange rhubarb and hot cocoa. And it was unbelievable. Right. And I had never considered it, but I eat chocolate-covered orange rinds, and they're delicious.
Right.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I have thought of that? But I didn't. And so I'm like, this is incredible. And then lots of combinations with our evergreen scents, Fraser Fir and Mistletoe Evergreen. People will put spiced apple cider. And I'm like, this is amazing. Or wood smoke. This is a natural combination.
Oh, wow.
And so for the holidays, I want to do a remix series of that when there's a music collaboration, it'll be like so-and-so X so-and-so.
Yeah.
I want to do like Fraser Fir X spiced apple cider, like sort of like hard rock, whatever. So I get inspiration from the people in our classes, and people will ask us for scents. And the reason we have cedar lavender was from repeated requests for lavender. And me being like, I just don't have it yet. No reason I don't have it yet. I don't hate lavender, but let me figure this out. And we put lavender with chamomile, lavender with cedar, lavender with tobacco. That's a few that I remember, but we did lots of combinations. And cedar lavender was like, okay, here's the one that smells the best to me. And so now that's one of our top performers. I'm like, great, thank you. Yeah.
Out of all the things in this entrepreneurial journey, what's been the hardest hurdle to overcome that you're most proud of?
What a good question.
Yeah.
I guess I don't even know how to frame it, but it's letting go of doing things the way I've always done them and embracing something totally different. I feel ya.
Yeah. Do you have an example in mind?
I'm trying to think of one. Well, the success of our little store has been because Stephen and I are working like crazy. And I'm only going to speak about my experiences and my journey. What I am about to say might not be true for everybody. But when I became sober, it was a lot easier for me to get up at 7 and have a productive day every day. And maybe I'll sleep till 8:30 sometimes, a lot of the time. But I have a clear head every day.
Yeah.
And I can be present with what I need to do every day. And when I have a moment at Edgewater Candles or at a street festival, anyway, things have happened to the Volkswagen that are not great. And I'm just like, I cannot, this scratch, a dent, getting bumper brushes while I'm sitting there parked and stuff like that. And a situation that may have had me reach for something that would alter my state. And now I get to be like, okay, what do I need to do right now to achieve serenity and peace? Because that is the only thing I actually seek, and truth. So let me find a way to deal with this thing that's happening outside my store that I can't control, or this situation that's occurring that I have no control over, and stay present and be of service to my little business, my tiny little community, these small things that I can influence, my little tiny sphere.
Yeah.
The other things are outside of my control.
Was that realization hard to put into practice?
Oh yeah. And it's not finished yet. Like it's a lifelong journey, and I'm just glad that I'm on the path.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. What's your relationship with your parents like?
It's fine.
Yeah. They never pushed like I know we initially started the conversation with career, but they never pushed that stuff on ya or anything like that. Okay.
My parents have 6 kids.
Oh wow.
So there wasn't, when I put myself in their shoes, how could they possibly have given any one child, here's what you need to aim for in high school. Let's talk about what college you want to go to. Have you thought about talking to your guidance counselor more? Have you thought about what your college is? Do you know what the SAT is? Here's some study prep. How could they?
Wow.
My dad was working 3 jobs. My mom 1. I mean, it was nuts.
Wow. Yeah.
So when high school was finished, it was suddenly like, oh, I need to figure out college. And usually people are thinking about that when they're sophomores. Not me. So when it was over, I was just like a dandelion seed, just like, whatever. I hope I land somewhere cool. I don't know. Yeah, my parents are supportive, and they're also, they just sort of sit back and like, wow, okay, this is what he's doing now.
Is there anything you wish you had more of with your parents?
I think I have everything I need with them.
Need, but what about want?
I have everything I want with them too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's also been a whole
same
opportunity and journey. Yeah, and my goal was to find everything. My goal is to find everything I need inside myself.
Yeah.
And so if I'm desiring something outside of myself that's outside of my control, I'm setting myself up for something outside of me to make me miserable. So
yeah,
if I don't,
it's a fine balance because the things that you can accomplish when you put yourself in a vulnerable space with someone else is far greater than what you could do by yourself, right? Whether it's a partner or friends or your parents.
This is true.
And the other side of that coin is, it can lead you to getting hurt as well.
Yeah.
And I think I 100% agree with you. I'm in the same boat of wanting more of a friendly relationship with my parents, and I think we're slowly inching our way there, but also coming from a standpoint of like, I don't need it. I'm gonna try to give myself everything that I need as far as self-talk and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
if it's there, it's there.
I love my parents,
Yeah.
and I meet them where they're at,
Right.
which is working beautifully.
I'm learning to accept that because it was, I think, frustrating previously to not have relationships that I might be able to observe in maybe my wife's parents with, my wife, or friends with their parents, and just like, why can't I? But it's out of your control.
Yeah. Whitney Houston said it best: greatest love of all. No need to love yourself. She was right.
Is there anything else we haven't talked about, Mark?
How much, I think maybe I already did, but how much of the success of this business is because of the collaboration between me and Steven. It's everything. Like you just said, if it was just me, I wouldn't have accomplished as much as I have with Steven. The two of us are way greater than the sum of our parts. We can bounce ideas off of each other and come up with an eventual, we call it thrashing. Maybe that's not what we call it. Lots of people call it that, I'm sure. But it's, let's try this or this or this or this. And then we eventually coalesce to the thing.
Wow.
And his sensitive nature and his incredible eye for design and taste is why Edgewater Candles is so beautiful, like to look at and to smell. And then my personality helps with the classes and the shows.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are we're producers for Janet Jackson. And I don't know where I heard this, but their motto was, may the best idea win. Not my idea, not your idea, just the best idea. And so I love that. And so when Steven and I have differences of opinion, it's not, it's my opinion or your opinion. It's like, what's the best idea here? That's the one I want to succeed.
Were there any hesitations with starting a business with a partner?
We had started the typewriter business together, and it was me being like, I'm doing this. I need your help. Make me a website. I'm going to take these pictures, build it, da-da-da-da. And so when I started making candles, he had this beautiful boundary moment. And he was like, I'm glad you're doing this. This is a lot of fun. Do not ask me to help you. And I sat there and I was like, okay, thank you for saying that. And he was like, if I want to help you, I will offer it when the time comes. But this is your thing, because I have my thing over and over and over. It's the typewriters. It's the, So here's another one Mark's doing. Let's let him do his thing, and that's going to be that.
Okay.
And like when the street festival came and I sold 100 candles, and he was like, I'm ready to help. It's like, thank you so much. And at that first street festival, he was there. His daughter was there. Her mom was there. Like, it was a beautiful coalescing of our tiny little universe and our people coming around to be like, Mark's doing another thing.
Wow.
And so it was only the Mark show for a few moments.
Yeah.
And it's been the Mark and Steven show for the majority of,
I love it. You said something very enlightening and beautiful at the start of class, in the sense of no class is ever the same.
Yeah.
Right? And that's dictated by the students that take that class. And that was very helpful to me when I felt burnt out teaching my class. No class is the same, truly. It's always different people, different backgrounds, looking for different things out of this class. And we're always trying to change the material and tweak the class in little bits, but it took someone saying that to me. So when you said it, it was it's always a nice reminder to hear that.
It's amazing to watch the vibe change based on the people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The classes can be so different. I have taught classes twice for Girl Scout troops.
Wow.
That vibe is totally different than the Alumni Association of Northwestern University.
Sure.
So different. Same class. They're doing the same exact thing.
So what do you think? And it wasn't the hardest technical thing to do, but you made it insightful enough to pique everyone's curiosity in the room, right? Whether it's like cutting the wick at an appropriate length. That explanation was so enlightening. And the ratios and just like having fun smelling all the smells. What do you think makes a great class?
For
let's say for candle making.
I can have, when I go into that class in a clear head, an excited moment, which it's hard for me to not be excited. I can't believe these people are all showing up to take my class at my little store. But it's me being open to the people and the people being open to me.
Okay.
I have seen participants that are not happy to be there. Doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
Oh.
And so I don't try to draw them out, but I'm like, I'm going to treat you like I treat everybody else. I'm not going to not talk to you because you've got this thing going on.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe you've got...
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but I'm going to be sweet and loving to you the same way I am to everyone else. So when the class is, everyone's excited to be there and they're all open with the experience, you know, it's a joyous vibe that builds on itself.
Yeah.
And I had a class the other day where there were 3 separate parties at the table that were celebrating birthdays. So the whole class was a birthday party. It was amazing. So yeah, it's everybody being excited to be there, me being excited to teach them. It just comes together with this like, everyone's happy and excited.
Yeah. Your level of ability to read the room is something I try to impart on my teaching staff as well. Just to know like what sticks and what isn't, and like how someone is doing from even nonverbal cues, and and if there's anything else, you know, my recent fear is like if I'm leaving anything on the table. And if I'm not meeting someone's expectation and things like that, and sometimes that's impossible, but leaving things on the table, left potential, I guess. Unfulfilled potential. But that's all I had, Mark. I'm sure there'll be additional episodes later down the line because you're always evolving and there's always another iteration. But where can people find you if you want to be found?
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
This was fun.
So much fun.
Shout out Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. I'm so excited to eat more of his pastries. Edgewatercandles.com. And then Instagram is our social media of choice, Edgewater Candles there. And we have a newsletter that you can sign up for on our website. And you can also meet us at 1050 West Bryn Mawr in the historic district of Edgewater in Chicago. Yeah,
it's the best. Another adjective that I left out is pure. You just don't meet people like you and Steven too often.
Thanks.
Just pure. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Till then, stay curious.